Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Cosmic. Today we're playing BTD6. Well, we're going to do that a lot, actually. And I'm going to destroy and disintegrate a ridiculous video from a TikTok love coach later on. But in the meantime, it's important that you know, if you need closed captioning, that is enabled. If you don't see it on the left side, you need to disable your ad blocker in order to see it. And then you should be able to do closed captions in real time. You can do a translation to whatever language you need and do whatever else you need in the settings to make it fit for you. And after we're done playing balloons, that's when I'll tackle the TikTok, and then we're just chatting. And if you want to post any links, have anything you want me to see or talk about or get my view on, then by all means, you're welcome to post links, but no spamming, or I'm going to have to pop you like a red balloon. All right, so I've been out for a couple of years, though, mainly because of knee surgeries and a couple other minor surgeries to make life more comfortable. So this is my first stream back in a while. I haven't made content in a couple of years either, so this is basically a big old restart for me. But I have gotten a little bit of rust off by black labeling spa pits, which was pretty recent. So I don't really know what I'm going to play today. If you want to vote for any particular maps, feel free to put a suggestion. Otherwise, I'm just going to go by how I feel and what looks like fun. Spring is never a bad map. Moon landing. Oh, that's fun. Firing range. That's awesome. But downstream, that's pretty lighthearted. So let's play some downstream. What haven't I done? Good on medium, hard, standard. Okay. Magic monkeys only. That shouldn't be hard at all. Heroless or hero? This thought is the best hero. We all know that. Do a ninja start because why not? See how far we can get with ninja by itself. Probably not very far at all. So I'm going to restart. Not enough money, so I'm going to have to do it size. Put her right up front. Move you. Is what it is. But fortunately, we got some spikes down here. Put a little wizzy woo right in the center. And if it isn't obvious where I'm going with the wizard, it should be pretty clear because it's one of the best choices you can make, particularly on this map. We gotta set these balloons on fire, because if we don't, then it's gonna be a blaze of balloons all over here and everywhere else, preventing us from winning. We don't need that. And this is why we put wizard here. Ideally, that wall of fire would be right there, but we'll take it.
soul.
Unfortunately, we do have him as a magic monkey, so technically we don't have to do that. But you know what? We're greasing the wheels here, so we're gonna do it. Go toward a master bomb. Because why not? Master Bomber is one of my favorite towers. Well, they did nerf it since I've been out. They nerfed it tremendously. But it's still solid for popping the Moabs, BFBs, DDTs, and everything else. But it's still not like it used to be. That's for certain. Much like what they did to Tac Shooter. But I know the Tac Shooter Paragon is out now, which I haven't played around with that too much. I don't really use Paragons that much anyway. I think it's a little bit too much work to get there, and I'm also not the greatest at boss balloons, so while Paragons are cool, it's definitely not exactly a focus. And one of the positives about using Master Bomber or just using a bottom path is that you get the caltrops, so it's almost like having a third tower there just for safety. It's like having a Spactory but without the Spacs. Now the fun part, I think I'll just go Dragon's Breath today. And we should be set up for success at this point.
Ring the bell.
Sticky bomb. Well, I think here we can go first. You can hear all those ceramics popping in there, which is a good idea for going Dragon's Breath. And Summon Phoenix is great because when you get the added boost to the Fire Blast, then the fun really begins. But right now, it's not necessary. Just keep the upgrades as they are. And we also have Sawdust Power if we gotta stomp down some balloons anyway, so that gives us a good safety net. Did anyone else out there have the opportunity to get any of the really cool balloons plushies that Ninja Kiwi put out over the past couple of years? I got the majority of them. I have Moab, BFB, DOMG, and then the BAD. I'm just waiting on a DDT. I have Sada 2 and Alchemist and a few others. I have a lot of the plushies. I mean, who doesn't want these cute little monkeys being in barrels around their house? Fortunately, they don't go jumping around on everything, which is good, because if they did, I already got 4 cats, so the less jumping on things, the better. I got enough jumperooing going on around here with all my cats. I mean, could you imagine Sada just out of nowhere jumping down on your table, and then suddenly you got food and water spilled all over the place? And you're like, Sada, there wasn't anything there. And then she's like, but there was a balloon, I saw it. I think you had a nightmare, Sada, from all of your wars with balloons. And all those camo balloons is another really solid reason to go 0, 2, 3, etc. and get markets. Because it's always the camos and ceramics and stuff that really want to sneak by. And purples, those are no fun. Which is funny because technically he's weak against purples. And this is a solid reason why this path, instead of going with balloon man, necromancer and whatnot. See, we haven't even had to really upgrade. Oh, damn it! I spoke too soon. We'll just continue, and who cares? Now, see, that's a good example of like being overconfident. Is it good? Yeah. Should I have upgraded? Yeah. Should I have used Sada? Probably. But I didn't, and that's okay. So we'll go to Summon Phoenix, and we'll be okay. There we go. Because there's nothing wrong with having a Phoenix flying around, Hadoukening everything. Nah, I don't eat Doritos, man. Doritos suck. Not even a good chip. To be fair, I don't like most chips, to be honest with you. The best chip I have had is called Terra chips. The Mediterranean flavored ones, those are the bomb. That'll work. There was a day in time where I did eat Doritos, but I was a kid back then. And that's not to say that people who eat Doritos are kids or just grew out of that taste phase. I don't think it's any good. I'd rather just have good old chips and salsa. But that's the Texan in me coming out. We got Mexican restaurants on every corner, so. We are getting a little messy around here. So go do. And that's why Master Bomber's so good, though. That BFB said, boom, bye. right up front. Everyone else can just.
Cannot hide from me. Cannot hide from me. You cannot hide from me.
Good dude.
Bring this one or something.
Someone better get hit with that. Not. Nobody's got money. That's no good.
Safe one.
Probably. So,
Burn through your ancestors.
no way.
Through the grave with
Coming down to the wire, but we're on the last round coming up. Nah, I am good on Vortex. I am not even good at boss flip, like I had mentioned earlier. It's definitely not my thing.
your soul.
And there we go. And plus, I haven't played for a while, so I have a lot of rust to get rid of. I appreciate the offer though, but I gotta work on getting less crafty again and really don't play co-op them. I'm more of a solo guy when it comes to balloons. It's my relaxation game, even though it's totally hectic, go figure. Oh boy, double HP Moabs. Okay. Your Bustikins. And now we have a lot more to deal with. So, go ahead and plop Pat down here.
Kaiju time.
Good a bit. Hopefully. This could get fun. This idea. Stick your glue soap. Yeah, I gotta work on getting my balloons badassery back up to par. I've been out with surgeries for a couple of years, and that's been back to back, tons of PT, everything else, and I don't foresee myself doing co-op stuff for a while. If I do, everything else is just chill out and watch a bunch of cute little monkeys do hectic things. I believe the last time I played was October of last year, so I just picked it up again like a week. Yeah, it's been a minute.
I am unstoppable.
I've got close to 700 hours in the game though. still suck at boss balloons. I did beat Dread Balloon when it first came out though, so I'll take that victory. I think I beat one of the other ones, but I can't remember. I'd have to check my achievement.
Stop them.
Oh boy,
Diggers, stop them.
failing misery. Here we go. So my goal here is to try and do a whole bunch of slowdown and let Pat Fusty do the heavy work.
I hunger for more.
There we go. Got it under. I got burnt out on it too. I mean, after nearly 700 hours, that's a ridiculous amount of time, but that's since the game was first released, so that has been over the span of like 6 years, something like that. All right. Power, and then do the usual spectry back here. Actually, well, no, that'll actually. Exactly. Like, they're cute. I love these little monkeys. These little buggers are wonderful, but yeah, I had to focus on myself and then just watching all the balloons go by all the time. It's a lot. Like SJB, man, I don't know how he does it. I mean, I know he's got the stuff going on with his vision and the grains or whatever, but I was gonna go that route, but I can't. Like, the highly produced stuff, and I hate video editing anyway, so there's that. I don't know that I'm necessarily trying to get as many medals as I can. I'm just kind of doing whatever. But yeah, I guess ultimately, how many black borders can I get? Which so far I've gotten a fair amount. That's the other thing, is playing the same map over and over again really gets tiring. That's the other part of it. Well, there's like a bajillion maps, which I know. But it's one of those things when you're on a certain map, you know, and you're like, okay, I'm just going to get this map out of the way instead of moving on to something else, because it breaks your train of thought. And you find something that works, so you run with it until it doesn't. Ooh. Yeah. I'm going to go for both. But out of every game that I have, like, Bloons is definitely my #1 favorite game. Although I've been beating the crap out of the Mass Effect series since the Legendary Edition was on sale for $6. That was a no-brainer. And damn, it's such a good series. Like, I love that game. There's so much to do, so many options, and it's hard to, like, not get tired of it. Hurry up, Pat Fusty. Level 8. I have a feeling I'm gonna get really screwed if I stick with this factory. I should probably put something else there. make any sense up front. It will. It won't. Oh. Especially purple camo. Ouch is definitely hard. Ouch and geared, those are not fun at all. Oh boy, here we go. This is exactly what I'm concerned with. Oh wow, I can't believe that actually made it through. Okay. We have a problem here, and I have to solve it. Well, you know what? Bloom Trap can solve it. Oh well, we'll just go with that. I don't need to be super meta about it. Give me some more cash, actually, now that I'm watching it. This is going to be terrible of me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Sell him, buy him back, hurry up. Because he can handle all the ceramics, doesn't he? The spikes or sell him too. You know what? He's there. We're just gonna do it. And perma spike's cheap anyway, so whatever. There we go. That's a fair amount better.
Invader.
For double HP Moabs, a lot of this doesn't make any sense, but with my goal to go for super glue, it does. Especially since Fusty is smacking them back and keeping them stalled, so. Not winning any speedrun competitions, but we are definitely performing the purposes as intended. Uh-oh, will you save us? Oh, good, it actually saved us. Wonderful. What's your favorite BTD6 map? Oh yeah, I usually soup everyone up with Alk, but sometimes, you know, I just challenge myself to see what I can make happen, even if it totally fails. Like, I'm surprised this is even holding right now, to be honest. But even if I got into all the, you know, oh, you get a 20% boost on this with a whatever, you know, getting into the real wiki meta details and stuff. That takes the fun out of it, kind of, sort of. I mean, it's good information to know, but sometimes you're just like, I'm going to put this down because I want to. Not because I need to, I just want to. So one of the things that I do like to do, though, it's back. That helps a lot, too. So if you really want to fortify the end of the map and clean up, that's a solid strat right there. Pretty common too. Exactly, and you know, with the amount of towers there are and the amount of possibilities, there's really no wrong moves per se. There are, but not in the grand scheme of things. If you understand what you're trying to do and you see where your weak spots are, well, you can just throw something else down to make up for it. but a lot of people don't pick long range when they are using Ring of Fire or Inferno Ring, but the reason I do it is because it gives you a lot more peer. So you can really bust up a lot of balloons. Just like FSD busted up that BFB. The stallingest of stalls. Oh yeah, for sure. And a lot of times when I'm playing a map and I'm doing it over and over anyway, I'm like, okay, what worked and what didn't? And then I take everything that worked really well, and I use those particular towers for the run on chimps or impossible. Like right now, if this holds up, I'll be impressed. See, now I'm impressed. That actually held up. Totally didn't expect it to. Oh, Sada is definitely my favorite, followed by, well, you know what? It would actually technically be Oben first, then Sada and Adora. Too much micro with Geraldo. I'm one of those minimal micro guys, but I don't have a problem with Mortar. Quite possibly. But I'm really hoping that Ring of Fire will carry some of that load. Otherwise, there is a solution. That's right here. There's always a solution. Bam. I think Ninja Kiwi has done a good job with balloons in general. Like, there's never gonna be a better tower defense game. In my opinion. It's gonna be real hard to do. Yeah, I haven't even bought Corvus. I don't see much reason to do so. Save the day. Come on, save the day. Wow. Okay, yeah, that one, that's a surprise, right? Oh, that just looked real goofy right there. Everything swirling back and then slinging into a circle. That was... But that's why I like Bottom Path Mermonkey. It gives you just that extra bit of breathing room. But I am definitely gonna get my tail kicked if I don't change something. Because right now, this strategy just totally fell apart. What would work... You want to do it anyway, but if I put him here... Go with... Because the balloons have been at war with the monkeys for centuries and millennia. They just showed up one day and they were like, we're here to take your bananas. And all the monkeys said, oh, hell no. You're not taking our banana. And they had to start designing weaponry to take out these balloons. with extreme prejudice. No one really knows why the war started, but that's my understanding. They were gonna turn the bananas into blue nanas, and then they just pop and you eat them. Doesn't help. Alright, if I played my cards right here, I should be able to hopefully save something. Or else I'm gonna have to sell it. Realistically, I shouldn't need this many blooms for this map, but it is what it is. Oh boy, cats trying to mess. Oh boy. Exactly. That's why Sniper is absolutely one of my top favorite modes. And the good thing about using Sniper too is he's mid-range in terms of cost, so he is somewhat cheap, especially if you're going for top path tier 1. May have to sacrifice someone, but who? I mean, I could get rid of Merman. That's only 9 grand. And Kaiju Pat is the best Pat. That's just a Pat. That's one of the best hero skins. Alright, I made it through. With terrible planning. Terrible strategy. Well, the strategy was sound, but the planning is not. Normally I can get by on double HP Moabs with using Sada, but I wasn't too sure about this particular map. The one thing I don't like about using middle path Sniper is because you can't use that cash on chimps. But for me, that's the point. Elite or I'm almost a super blue. If I don't die here. Okay, great. At one point, super glue was super cracked, and when you did top path with it, it like absolutely destroyed. So I think they nerfed that recently. Right. And then there's that one achievement, Axis of Power, I think it's called. There you go. Alright, that was way slower than it ever needed to be, but whatever. That worked out. That was too many close calls on that, though. That's not my normal. Oh, Luminous Cove. Quiet Street on Chimps. Oh my goodness, that is difficult. I still haven't gotten that yet. And Lunarius Prime, that's also pretty tough. This is, I don't know why this is under intermediate. Balance is really not hard at all. Same with Carts and Darts. Not that bad. Cracked. Standard. I didn't change heroes, but that's fine. I don't really need a hero on this. I feel like Boomerang Monkey is one of the best powers in the game, but is severely underrated. And I know Ninja Kiwi has done a lot to negate that, but I still think he's too underrated. And Glue Gunner is definitely one of my staples too. And like one of the other things I love about the game is the music. The guy who makes the music is like severely underrated. He can do so many different styles and they're all unique. Some are a little jazzy, some are more contemporary. Some are genres and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that counts as a genre. And this is someone who's a former audio engineer. So if I don't know what the genre is supposed to be, it's like, huh, I don't know what kind of music you're listening to, but it's something special. And I always usually go Glaive Lord. I do like Middle Path too, but that's a fair amount of micro. But with TechBot, it does make things easier. Oh no, yeah, an oversight. That's fine. I got spikes back. Free camo for medium comp. There was a time when Glaive Lord was one of like the top towers in the game. Like when Tack Shooter, Top Path, that was the bomb. Of course that would happen, wouldn't it? That's okay. Relentless glue. It's relentless. Never gives up. It's like Rick Astley. That's what they should change it to. Rick Astley glue. So it's never going to give you up. It's always going to stay stuck on you. Easy peasy. Oh boy. Oh good. I feel like Bloom Jutsu is actually kind of a weak tower, but I do have it on middle path though to help ammo clean. So there's that. Almost have enough for Glaive Lord. Well, I mean, technically. Voila. Easy peasy. I think that's one of the things that's cool about Glaive Lord is that it can also pop camo. I mean, it is the Glaive Lord, so it kind of makes sense that it should just take care of all balloons without needing a camo specific upgrade. I mean, just giant blades, so it only makes sense. Metal muncher. But there's no metal to munch, it's balloons, so shouldn't it be like plastic muncher? Or latex, because balloons can be latex too. That wasn't not safe for work, but you know. Alright. Feel like enough balloons for me. So we are going to switch over part 2 of this stream. All right. So off goes the balloons hat. Now we put on the ridiculous hat. So if there's one thing that I can't stand, that would be TikTok love coaches and dating coaches and all these people out here who likely aren't in a successful relationship, probably aren't in any sort of psychology coursing, probably never taken a psychology course, like a real one, probably haven't ever really delved into relationship science and other things. But they often go out here and they talk about these things like they're experts. Now, with that premise, you may be wondering, well, why are you about to talk about it? Well, I'm 37 years old and I've been through a lot of stuff in life. So I have a bit of a different perspective on certain things. Plus, I actually studied endocrinology for a fair amount of time. I'm a former pro athlete. I've done a lot of things in my life while being a visually impaired individual. So my perspectives come from a lot of failure, a lot of better understandings, a lot of psychology, a lot of different avenues. Actually, I have an engineering degree. Relationships can often feel like engineering input output, listening for white noise, and getting to the truth of certain matters and things. But a lot of these love coaches and stuff, they do cause damage in people's relationships. In fact, they cause damage in functionality of social sciences as a whole, because a lot of it's just pseudo intellectualism and pseudoscience, and that causes big issues on a global scale, because then people forget how to communicate. They don't really know who they are. They don't really know what they want most of the time. They've never really done that inner work. And one of the biggest red flags that you can see right here is pull away phase. There is no such thing. All of this game terminology, throw it out the door, because that's not how relationships really are. Not to that degree. So this caught my eye because there's a whole lot of stuff in here that's just marginally true, with a lot of manipulation thrown right in. So let me adjust the volume here just a tad bit because it is a bit loud. All right. So I'm going to play this and I'm going to interrupt here and there because it's worthy of interruption to really break it down. So without further ado, let's absolutely disintegrate this terrible, horrible love coach advice. Play volume.
You were dating this man, he seemed like he was really into you, was calling consistently, even buying you flowers and gifts and taking you out on dates.
Yeah, I sincerely doubt that most men are buying you flowers and gifts. Taking you out on dates, more than likely, yeah, especially if you're dating. But buying flowers and gifts, that's more of a getting toward the commitment phase of things. But I digress.
And then all of a sudden he goes cold for you. He is not making an effort anymore. He is not trying to call you, not trying to see you. He always has an excuse that he's too busy. It's work, it's kids, it's this, it's that.
Well, okay. Maybe it is work, because work is going to come before you. Maybe it is kids. Does he have a kid? How many kids does he have? Huh. It's amazing, the world does not revolve around one person in a relationship. It's a choice to involve that person. But there are other things that do come before that person that are priority number one. And work and job is absolutely priority number one. If you're not making money, well, you're not living. And if you're not living, then that makes you homeless. And then typically, if you're homeless, you're definitely not dating. So this is all going downhill at the speed of an asteroid.
What do you do and what is actually happening? Now, hopefully you've seen this video before you have done the dreaded start to chase him.
Oh,
because
Lord.
for a lot of women, when they get attached to somebody that they really start to like and they really start to care about, they're afraid of losing them. It triggers their insecurities. It triggers their fear of not being enough and of being abandoned.
Okay. Here's the manipulation. Oh, it triggers. Not being enough. Being abandoned. Okay. No. If someone is not responding to you, just be upfront with them. Ask them, hey, is there something going on? Is there a reason why you're being distant or not talking to me? Wow, holy shit, was that so hard? No, it's that simple. But you also have to be understanding of the response that you're going to get that, hey, yeah, I am having doubts. Okay, then maybe you should discuss those doubts like adults. Or maybe there is something going on. Maybe there's something with the guy. You never know. Hey, what's up, Evelyn? How are you doing? But there's really no abandonment going on here. You're in the dating phase. It's kind of hard to be abandoned by someone. This is using trauma terminology to apply to dating in a way that just does not work. But we'll continue on. I'm not doing too bad. I appreciate you asking. Just breaking down this ridiculous TikTok advice because it's terrible and no one needs this stuff in their life.
And then they start to hold on tighter. And in the process of holding on tighter, not only does it push him away, but it causes you to lose a piece of yourself.
Okay. That is completely illogical. It causes you to hold on tighter. No, not necessarily. If you yourself have a life and hobbies and other things going on, you should be doing those things while he's doing those things. That's just basic common sense. It's called having a life. If you're sitting around waiting for this person and playing this stupid game, I'm a returning streamer. So I'm new on other platforms, but I'm returning after 2 years out on surgeries and stuff and getting my mind in a different place. Been through a lot in the past couple years, so firing up the old engine again. But yeah, returning, new, however you want to look at it. But the reality when it comes to this kind of stuff is there is no pull away phase, but I'll let her keep digging her own grave here. Get back to what she's saying real quick. It doesn't push us away.
But it causes you to lose a piece of yourself.
Lose a piece of yourself. That is bar none manipulation. You're not losing anything of yourself by choosing to have interest in someone and express that interest. That is the purpose of dating, to express interest, to communicate. It's real simple. Communication is number one, not just in romantic relationships, but in all your relationships. You check in on people, you care about people. You don't put one person on a pedestal and then throw everyone else away like a scatter shot. That just doesn't work. Well, I appreciate your comments. Thank you for saying that you appreciate my efforts. And I hope that you will support me and that you'll hit that follow button and that you'll look for more content. But you're not losing a piece of yourself. This is just manipulation tactics.
So listen up as I tell you what exactly is happening during this pull away phase.
He's living his life. There is no such thing.
John Gray, he is the author
Oh God, this guy.
of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
John Gray, number one, is not a doctor. John Gray has no actual PhD. In this book that she's mentioning, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, using stupid stereotypes. That book is from like the late 90s. The guy has no actual PhD. The PhD he claims to have is from some diploma mill place that got shut down by the Attorney General's office. If you want real relationship advice, go listen to John Gottman, the real doctor of PhDs in relationships. Someone who actually knows what they're talking about, the Gottman Institute. Go look them up. But I'll let her keep digging this grave here.
Men biochemically bond and fall in love through a different process than women.
No,
and through this process, he goes through a pull-away phase. It's
No,
a
we don't.
biochemical process that happens within his body when his testosterone significantly drops because he has fallen for you. Now,
Okay. This is hilarious right here because not only is she taking a really old study from like 2003-ish and claiming that this is true for all men because it is not. Now, I'm going to come back to this after this video is over. But is it true that men's testosterone drops while in a relationship? Marginally. But it's not an instant thing. It doesn't just go and plummet. That's not how it happens. And it's also not true in every single case. There are so many different reward pathways and other functions that are involved in testosterone elevation, not to mention, are you getting good sleep? You know, what are your other covariates? Do you have any endocrine issues? All these other things. But really, when it comes to testosterone, you're getting good sleep. If not, your cortisol is probably high. Well, that's a double whammy there. That could lower your test significantly. Yes, I can see the chat. I do not have an Instagram, but I do have an X account, which is just Cosmic Calico X, all together. So you can follow me there if you'd like. But what she's claiming here is a quarter truth, but we'll dive into that after the video is over, because not only is this claim ridiculous in many ways, using it as a justification tool to say that, oh, well, his testosterone dropped, that's why he's not talking to you, is not only laughable, it's just ridiculous. The way that testosterone actually works is when you're in REM sleep, that's when your testosterone starts boosting. So by like 8 in the morning, your testosterone is at a pretty high elevation. And then over the day, it's going to go into its trough. So that by around 8 to 10 p.m., your testosterone is at the lowest in the day. So it's not this giant rise and fall. If you're taking steroids, well, then it's like that. But your natural rhythm, it's a sine wave, not this instant drop. I do not have a Discord yet. As a matter of fact, my Discord somehow got fried a couple times, so I'm staying away from Discord for a little while. But let's let her continue making herself look ridiculous.
are there men who are players that are pulling away because they are interested in other people? Yes, but if you
But that's not really being a player. That's called dating, and he's talking to other people. Now, should he be upfront with you about that? 100%.
are dating the way I'm teaching you how to date, then
Please do not date the way she is teaching you.
you will be able to identify these men rather quickly. The man I'm talking about is the man who has character, the man that you have learned how to properly vet, select, and attract him.
Now, what did she just say about being a player? And then she's teaching people to vet, select, and attract. That is quite literally the definition of being a player in dating. Oh, it's just ridiculous. These people always step over their own feet. And in that process of stepping over their own feet, they find that some people actually know what they're talking about.
And this man, who seems like all the other aspects of his life are congruent with him being a man of standard and character, that type of man is starting to pull away from you. Now, if that's
Probably
the
not.
case, then understand that biochemically he's going through something that is completely natural. Don't get upset. Don't freak out. Don't start to chase him. Don't start to attack him.
That is the worst advice. As a man, I am telling you that this idea of don't start to chase. What she's actually saying is don't communicate with him. If you don't communicate with us, we're going to assume that you're losing interest and we're going to talk to other people. But if you just do the human thing and communicate and continue to communicate, we're going to keep communicating. Really that simple. Unless you've said or done something disrespectful, then of course we're going to be like, yeah, no, that wasn't cool. So please don't ever do that again. And if you continue to do it, well, then we're going to be done. It's called boundaries. Common sense. Men and women should both have boundaries, and boundaries should be respected. Really simple.
Notice that this is actually a good thing, because when a man goes through this phase, that means that he is pulling back so that his testosterone can rebound, for one, and for two, so that he can legitimately make a decision on if he wants to take the plunge for you. Because when a man decides that you're the one that he wants to be exclusive with, then he has a permanent drop in testosterone. It also decreases his ability to have that keen hearing that was
what? Hearing. My hearing is not affected by testosterone. That is a complete and utter fallacy. What she's actually saying is because his testosterone dropped, he doesn't hear what you have to say. He's not as attentive anymore. That is false. In fact, in what she's trying to describe, it's a give and take. It's a sociosexual effect. So if the man is the type whose testosterone drops, well, that could be because he's comfortable, but it could also be related to whether or not they got a kid, or if she has a kid and he's now taking a parental role. So many other factors in that. But what she's talking about is not a permanent drop, and the drop is like 20%. So if you're sitting at like 700 nanograms per deciliter, that's like nothing. If you're already low T and you're sitting at like 350, well, then, yeah, you might have a problem. But a man's really not even going to notice this.
Was as high before he met you.
His hearing.
And there's other biochemical processes that he sacrifices as well, having an advantage in when he actually falls for you. You don't want a man to just accidentally default choose you. You want a man to intentionally know that he...
There is no accidentally default choosing someone. It's always an intentional choice. And if it's not, then that guy has no idea who he is. If we tell you that we're interested or we like you or something, guess what? That's what it means. Wow, who knew? Just like it should be the same for a female. If you tell us, hey, I like you, I'm interested, would you like to go on a date? Guess what? That means you're consciously choosing. It's not just some default mode. That's ridiculous. And it's just out of context. And this idea that he cannot live without you. Okay, that's manipulation. A man can live without you. He's choosing to include you in his life, just like you are choosing to include him in your life. This idea that you can't live without someone is false. It's also involved with stringing people along, and this can also lead into an abusive scenario. Well, you can't live without me. Actually, I can. Why divorce happens.
He cannot live without you, and he is willing to do whatever it takes in order to be with you. Willing
to do whatever it takes in order to be with you. You have to clarify that statement, because anything can be misconstrued. What he's supposed to give up his boundaries to be with you. He's supposed to give up his friends to be with you. He's supposed to give up an infinite number of other things. Now, that's all situational. And that is terrible advice, because it sets a terrible precedent in the relationship in the first place. It sets a terrible precedent in attraction, really.
Man reaches that conclusion, then he comes back bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And you're going to know that he is serious about you, because he will want to commit to you. Why? Because biochemically...
Okay. Thank God that ride is over with, because it was an absolutely atrocious ride. And I hope that no one takes any of that advice to heart, because it is a complete fallacy. Now, let's go into that whole testosterone claim. And this is another thing with these so-called coaches. They've never read a study in their life. Not one. I have over a decade of reading studies from A to Z. So, this idea that our testosterone just drops and plummets because we're suddenly interested in you is the tiniest little scope. The reality is that doesn't happen to everyone. So, as you can see from this tiny little study that is unfortunately not often quoted because it's a great study, romantic involvement often reduces men's test levels, but not always. The moderating role of extra pair sexual interest. And that's a fun one, basically, what they're saying, the moderating role of attraction. So, I've highlighted some things in advance to make this less boring for the less scientifically inclined. A recent review of the literature on the association between T and sexual motivation suggests a threshold effect of T on libido. T levels below a certain level appear to be positively related to libido. Above this level, however, the marginal increase in libido associated with T is minimal. In other words, what they're saying is there's a cap on T and libido. So, past a certain point, it doesn't matter what your measurement is. You're still going to have sexual activity. You're still going to be able to get it up and all these other things that go along with having high testosterone or having a high libido, which is also a psychological factor. It's not just a hormonal factor. In an evolutionary framework, responsiveness of T production to mating effort implies that there is a cost to men of maintaining high T when they are mated. In fact, T has such costs. It channels energy that could be used otherwise into, for instance, maintaining muscle mass. Right, so testosterone has multiple functions. And despite popular belief, while there is aggression that is associated with testosterone, a lot of that actually comes from estrogen. That is a fact. But I digress. It's not what we're discussing here. T may also encourage risk taking behavior that, although potentially beneficial when men are competing for mates, entails costs not worth undertaking when men are in committed relationships. Obviously, what risk is there to take? Finally, T may interfere with affiliative and nurturing behaviors that are important in species characterized by long-term social bonds between relationship partners and parental care by both sexes. Translation: there's a trade-off when you're a parent. Not only are you losing sleep when you're raising the kid, you have more stress. The two biggest drops in testosterone come from those factors: poor sleep and high stress. Well, having a child leads to poor sleep and high stress, point blank. So, of course, your T is going to drop. And then whatever marital stressors or relationship stressors you may be having that you're arguing about instead of talking about, that'll do it too. But continuing on, the potential moderating role of extraparasexual interests. Although longitudinal data indicate that T levels change as a result of changing relationship status, from a conceptual standpoint, it's not clear that all men's T levels should change in the same way. Of course not. Whereas the levels of many men may drop when they become involved in a committed relationship, the levels of others may remain relatively high. Wow, who knew? Not everyone has the same biology, therefore, it can't be applied blanketly. Now, there can be trends, but those trends do not apply to all beings. The current studies investigated potential moderators of the effects of relationship status on men's T. Paired men may be faithful or unfaithful. No way. There goes the psychological component. It's a choice to be faithful or unfaithful, and that's the truth. Faithful men are relatively committed to the sexual exclusive nature of their relationships. Although they may find women other than their partners attractive, wow, that's normal. That's called being human. They do not engage in effort to attract these women. That is, they do not engage in extra pair mating effort. So, women out there who get pissed at men for being attracted to other women while they're in a relationship, y'all are just pulling a double standard because you're looking at guys that you're attracted to. Yeah, you're not making moves. Well, neither are we. But the difference is, oftentimes when a man expresses that a woman is beautiful or hot or something, well, then starts the fireworks and then the assumptions, oh, he's cheating on you. No, the problem is you're too busy watching these stupid people on TikTok. And then you're throwing your relationship, which is probably just fine, into the gutter because you don't understand how biology actually works. So that causes all these dysfunctions within the relationship. And that's when it starts to fall apart. Scroll on through all the math work here. I'm making a point here with this study that it's simply false to say that there's a permanent drop in testosterone. It's just not true. The current study suggests that these latter effects are at least partly due to the modulation of T by social circumstances, as I just mentioned. If a guy finds another woman attractive, but he's in a relationship with you, that's just a social circumstance. Although the T levels of men may, on average, drop when they enter relationships, which I said earlier, the T levels of men who retain extra pair sexual interest, even when in a relationship, show no evidence of any such drop. That line right there completely demystified and absolutely disintegrated her entire stance. That's what happens when you quote people who aren't real PhDs, have never done a study, and they have never read a study themselves, or they do what a lot of people do. They read the abstract and think that that's the study. No, you got to go in and you got to do the deep dive with these. The T levels of, oh, wait, sorry. Were this association due solely to the effects of T on men's tendency to be in relationships, there would have been little reason to expect an interaction between men's extra pair sexual interests and their T levels. Wow, who'd have thought? Were it simply the case that men who have high T are more likely to cheat when in relationships, their T should covary with the SOI when they are single. That's the sociosexual index. But we did not observe that pattern of results. This view also suggests that more experienced single men with low T should be more likely to have been in relationships than those with high T. But we did not find the percentage of men more experienced single men have been in a relationship in the past 3 years predicts their T levels. So, one wonderful study just proved everything that this woman claimed as completely false. And that's what makes it manipulation. She has no idea what she's talking about. What she's teaching women out here is how to be manipulative. And that is a problem. That is really the main problem with all things relationship in 2025 and all these so-called experts on TikTok. Like, dude, people like this are what's wrong with society. This is why people don't have conversations anymore. This is why people are too busy hiding now. No one trusts anyone. Everyone's busy falling for manipulation tactics, gaslighting, uh, just dejecting people from wanting to associate with others. Like when, as a man, seeing this content, knowing what I know, it's absolutely hilarious, but it is dangerous. It's a societal issue that needs to be nipped in the bud. You know, free speech is a great thing, but it's also a double edged sword. And this is why you can't just hang on to someone like a dingleberry, because that's really what's going on in more feminine circles today. They take this stuff and run with it when it's not even legitimate. And this is just one example of, I'm sure I can find countless others. Like, there's so much abuse on TikTok, they should just change the name to Abuse Talk, because oftentimes that's what it is. And that also comes from the woke crowd, but I think that much is obvious. These sorts of issues make it hard for men and women to communicate. They make it hard for even parents and children to communicate in a lot of ways. Because if you don't know how to communicate, you read into things with no basis in reality. And when you do that, what you're actually causing is a complete disruption in your home life, in your relationship life. And then you wonder why you're single all the time. You wonder why you're claiming that men are all the problem when men aren't the problem. The problem is people like this, people who are out there to take your money and take advantage of you. You really want help, go see a marriage counselor. Probably don't talk about your relationship problems to people who aren't in the relationship because oftentimes people have motives. And you'll find that those motives are not always in your best interest. They're actually in the person's best interest because they're unhappy that they're trying to say that they're your friend, but what they really want is to see you where they are. And that doesn't help your life at all. Unfortunately, that's what's going on in the world, and it's not okay. It should be called out. These sorts of people should not be put on a pedestal. They're not professionals. They're not experts. They have no idea what a study is. They don't know how to read a study. They don't know how to look for bias. They don't know who funded the studies. They don't know quality, all these other things. And they also don't just they don't have just basic common sense. And a lot of this stuff is repeated patterns. It's both generational and it comes from the home. It comes from however their parents did or didn't communicate. Uh, how their grandparents did or didn't communicate. All these different interactions from multiple people, multiple angles are what form these kinds of issues. And then these people think that they have some kind of unique perspective when they're really not saying anything different. They're just saying what other people say and they are just regurgitating. Regurgitating information never helped anyone. That is all I have to say about that particular subject. I roasted her pretty well. That was easier to pop than a red balloon. So, what else is going on out there, folks? You have anything you'd like me to take a look at? More than happy to do so. Otherwise, let's see what's going on out here. With me or follow me. I'll go X is name out there on the X, the Twitters, the whatever you want to call it. Let's see if we can find. Okay, that's pretty cool. Skyrim Grandma in streaming retirement to play Oblivion Remastered. It's a good game. It's funny when I got into PC gaming back in the day and Oblivion came out, dude, I was so lost. I had no idea what the hell I was doing by the time I gotten out of the jail cell. I was like, where am I supposed to go? But nowadays, like, no, like, dude, Oblivion Remastered is really good. And there's a few mods out there that make it even better too. Um, but that's pretty cool. I think that elderly people playing games is a positive. So many people out here think that playing games is somehow detrimental or makes you lazy or this, that. Are you kidding me? Like, pick up a game. Go, start all the way back at NES. Go pick up Super Mario. you're going to die about 100,000 times before you figure out that, okay, gaming actually takes skill. It's reaction time. It takes plotting. It takes pathing, routing, thinking, spatial memory, all these other aspects of the human mind all go into gaming. And I think that gaming is a net positive for humanity personally, not because it's an escape from reality. That's only part of it. Like, the way that I look at gaming in a large part is look at acting, but movies are okay. Oh, you play games, you're lazy. But you go pay $30 for a movie and $75 for a bucket of popcorn, and you act like it's the greatest thing in the universe. But that's just fallacy. But let's look in here, see what's going on with this article. And Skyrim was fun. I didn't play it that much. I beat it, of course, but I don't know. I just didn't get into it. Now, with like Road to Sovngarde and all those other mods, yeah, that would make it worth another play. But I was busy playing other games. Yeah, boredom is definitely a reason for ending any kind of career. I worked in marketing for a while, and not only did I get bored, I absolutely despised the person I was working for. And that's a subject for another time where, I could get into that actually. Working for the internet marketing gurus, oh my God, these narcissistic people. They are some of the worst. And then they pretend that they're so spiritual, but I'll come back to that. But I think that's cool that there are elderly people out here that are playing games, that they're streamers. Like, a lot of elderly folks aren't exactly technically savvy, but stuff like this is cool to me. And I haven't heard of this woman before, so more props to you, man. Oh, wow, 89. See, that's like triple cool. Like, she stopped streaming out of boredom, but the reason she started playing games too was likely out of boredom and loneliness. Now, I'm not going to assume someone else's life like that, but we all have elderly people in our lives and we know that they are bored and lonely. And unfortunately, places like nursing homes don't always offer the most care or the best social sphere for the elderly, unfortunately. No intention of ever playing Starfield. Yeah, that's probably a great choice. Now, No Man's Sky, that's one that you might want to give a go to. But boy, the one thing I can't stand about that game is the real time travel. That is definitely not a pop. But yeah, I don't ever see myself playing Starfield either because that is just ridiculous. And from everything that I've seen and heard, just a big, big nope. If I'm going to play a space game, it's Mass Effect. Pretty much, period. That and No Man's Sky. Well, that's pretty cool. That is interesting news. In Night Rain, no, I am not a Souls guy. I am absolutely awful at Souls like games. I would say the closest thing to anything that would be Souls like would have been what, oh goodness. What's that called? Not Blood Rain. Um the chick with the stilettos. Oh my goodness. And the giant bosses on PlayStation and all that. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking. But yeah, I don't foresee myself playing Night Rain. I played Elden Ring, but I was absolutely awful at it. I don't like having to put so much effort into playing a game where I have to be so perfect with timing and dodging. But uh, Expedition 33, that's another story because you don't have to be super perfect. There's a lot of leeway with when you dodge, uh, whether you're playing on normal or easy or whatever. So you have a lot of leeway there to get past some of the dodging checks. Oh boy, Switch 2. Switch 2. I wanted it at first until Nintendo started pulling all of their WEF bullshit. You'll own nothing and like it. No, I'll own everything I have and like it. So I don't know that Nintendo is going to be getting any money from me anytime soon. They're gonna have to they're gonna have to fix a lot of their business practices, and they really need to get rid of Doug Bowser because he is absolutely killing it for North America. All his DEI and woke bullshit piling it into the gaming industry. Hold on, stop, sweetie. That's what's killing gaming. All of these bad choices. And we're gamers. We speak with our money. That's the great thing about our economy. We're going to tell you, the companies, hey, we're not cool with this. We're not interested in $80 games or $120 games or $150 games. We're interested in a complete game with a complete package, not having to pay to press a chat button. Yeah. The Switch 2 is a colossal clusterfuck, in my personal opinion, and I don't foresee myself buying it or playing it until things change, either at Nintendo of America or Nintendo stops trying to blame Trump tariffs when they had all this stuff planned in the first place. So they're just using the tariffs as a scapegoat for the reality that we don't want to deal with how they're mistreating us. The capitalism is a great thing. However, when your customers are speaking loudly in the millions and telling you, hey, no, what you're doing isn't okay, you have two choices. You can lose revenue or you can pivot. Nintendo doesn't want to pivot, but Nintendo is also not owned by its predecessor, which is unfortunate because it was a great company back then. That's why the Nintendo we all knew and loved, we loved it. But Nintendo of 2025, no, we don't. And, if you like Pokemon, but you don't want to deal with Nintendo's ridiculousness, this game right here, Cassette Beasts, is really cool. It has a lot of cool concepts. You can combine different beasts together to make a fusion and all this other stuff. So it's pulling from Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. It's a really cool game if you haven't checked it out. Instead of Pokeballs, you use cassette tapes to basically record them. So this is definitely worth a look if you're into Pokemon. Oh wow, that's a shocker. Yes, this is a net positive, and these sorts of terrorist attacks should not be tolerated by anyone, anywhere. And acting like people aren't terrorists is ridiculous. For the state of social justice worry, no, just don't. And people don't understand something that's truthful about Biden. And if you watch flight trackers or anything else, and you know that Biden was flying illegals in for years. Well, technically Obama, 'cause Obama was the one pulling the strings, and the real Joe Biden doesn't exist anymore. But reality is everything, all roads will lead to Obama. Acts of terrorism will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, as they should be. This is yet another example of why we must keep our borders secure and deport illegal anti American radicals from our homeland. Absolutely. Get rid of them all. The fact that people make excuses for those types. Remember, you're all in the minority. You're not the majority. The rest of us are the majority. What the media portrays out there is literally like 1% or less of what represents the American people. And what they do show, it doesn't represent us as a society. It does not represent. And that is something that people just have to accept. You are the minority. LGBT, you're the minority. Trans, you're the minority. Everyone is the minority. But the way the media likes to blow smoke up people's asses is why they think they're the majority. Reality is much different, as was shown through our voting power. Wow, who knew? But it's funny when the shoe's on the other foot. Oh, it was rigged. Oh, you cheated. Oh, Elon did it. Oh, but wait. We have proof of the other side actually doing it. We just overloaded the system. But the reality is, all acts of terrorism do need to be prosecuted. Uh, all this stuff, though, ends up being psyops at the end of the day. Look here, not there. What are they distracting you from? What narrative does the media want to push out there? How do they take this event, this tragedy, and use it to justify something else, to rile up that tiny little percentage of people, and then magnify that as if it's somehow speaking for all of us when it isn't? That is the definition of a psyop. The media is full of gaslighting. The media is full of top tier manipulation. But that shouldn't come as any surprise considering how involved the CIA is with media. And that is the truth. Matter of fact, who coined the term conspiracy theory? The CIA. That in itself was just a scapegoat to get you to not actually look deeper into things. And that's what caused America and the globe really to spiral completely out of control over decades. Believing the narrative is what caused it. Crisis actors, funding from certain individuals with the last name of Soros, the things that the Clintons have done, being friends with certain Steens, Haiti, woman named Laura Silsby. This all goes in so many directions. But at the end of the day, it comes down to one 3-letter agency and one tiny little nation state starting with an I that people get really mad when you talk about it because Israel is a problem. And if you actually knew anything about it, and if you knew anything about that sector of the East, you would know that all these movements that you see, all these SJWs and libtards diving into, like, they despise you. And it's pretty sad that you can't figure it out. But sure, let's blame Trump. Trump is the problem. Trump is the problem of all things for 8 years. 8 years. You would think after a while you would start to realize, maybe he actually isn't the problem, but that takes effort. That takes thought. That takes critical thought, not reaction. which is what most of these libtards run off is reaction, reaction, reaction. They don't think. And that's the problem. When you don't think, you are easily controlled, you are easily manipulated, and you will fall for everything and stand for nothing. And then you create your life based around this one teeny tiny minuscule thing as your identity. You don't even know who you are. You don't know what you really stand for. You're only moving and grabbing at things that you think are going to make people include you while excluding everyone that you're claiming to include. And where does that get you? Nowhere. And then when you wake up to it all, like those who detransition from things, they lose everyone. All a bunch of fakery. You're all fake people. What you believe in is fake. Who you are is fake. You have no real identity. And when you base your sexuality as your identity, you really have no clue who or what you are. And that is the truth of a lot of the LGBT movement out there. No one cares if you're gay. What we care about is pushing all that stuff onto children. That's not okay. Being a groomer isn't okay. And it's something that is pretty disgusting. More Switch news. Mark Hamill not returning to Star Wars. I think that's a good thing. I think that he is pretty much done. And there are other people and other places to move on to. Blizzard, blah. I was done with Blizzard a long time ago. Oh, what's up, Asmongold? Great point. I mean, and see, this is another thing. Why is there such a focus on whether or not it's you know about not just being trans? Like, dude, it's so ridiculous. Like, this is he just parrots what I said. None of you know who you are. You have no idea who you are as people. Your whole identity is based off of your perceived sexuality, or that you think that you're a they and them. You're not. There's only male and female. And then the aberrations that are hermaphrodites. There's nothing else. Those are the people who actually have to make a real choice. Everyone else is just busy playing dress up and Halloween every day. But again, that doesn't make you less as people, but you have a terrible mentality. You abuse those you claim to defend. And if so, why is all the merch with the trans flags and colors, but none have the rainbow that represents all forms of pride? Why is only trans being represented? Well, Asman, I think that's very clear, because these sick groomers have to keep perpetuating the same cycle. Otherwise, they'll lose control. And when LGBT didn't work, oh, well, now we just need to hone in on this like 0.25% of society, and we need to blow it up, magnify it to pretend like it's this big, huge global phenomenon when it's not. So that gets more of these psychopathic and creepy parents to mess with their kids, which then pumps big pharma up, which then pumps big medical up. And everything is this stupid, messed up cycle. It's really fucked up. That is why it's being done. And this is another reason I stopped supporting Blizzard too. Like, none of this makes any sense. It's all stupid. But when you know that George Soros gave Blizzard $100 million, well, things start to make a lot more sense. Uh, but it's funny, you know, I said what I said, and then, oh, well, this just pops up. It just goes to show that the truth will set you free. But that is it for me today. I'm going to call it there, and I'll see you folks again on Wednesday. Please be sure to hit that follow button, and I'd love it if you'd become a sub. So hit that subscribe button if you're on Twitch or Kick, or if you're on YouTube, toss me a donation. Thanks for your support, Evelyn, King Kiddo, and everyone else who came in and chatted with me today. J2 Trappy up on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. And if you'd like to follow me here on X, that is Cosmic Calico X, right here. Also, if you'd like to contribute another way, type in Calico under the creator codes inside Bloons, and that will give me a portion of any purchases made toward my Nexus code. This is Cosmic Calico signing out. See you.